and there's an agreement between both parties, then she can start with the sex toys and proceed to her husband for final destination. It's as simple as that.
Okay. I want to say very warm welcome again to Heart and Verse. Welcome to Heart and Verse. If you are joining us online, a warm welcome to you. Thank you for being part of this conversation tonight. And to everyone on side, welcome. Please look at your neighbor and say, welcome to Heart and Verse. All right. Tonight we want to talk about sex toys. We want to talk about it in light of specifically considering whether singles and married Christians can use them. And we found a video online, a video of someone giving a real thought out answer to this. And I would think that this answer is a genuinely careful argument. And I want us to listen to it afterwards, would engage with that argument or thought out response to the question of whether Christians can use sex toys or not. Lydia, please go ahead and play the video.
This by saying spicy toys are not specifically prohibited by the Bible. In fact, we have archaeological evidence that people were using spicy toys before the Bible was ever written. So if God truly cared about us using them, he had every opportunity to tell us to do so while he was writing the Bible, but he didn't, which makes them a personal conviction issue. Said, my question for you is, why do you want to? There could be a myriad of reasons why someone would want to. I also want to clarify that dilators used for the purposes of treating vaginismus or other female sexual dysfunction are not toys. They look like toys. They are a therapeutic device used to be treating a medical issue. So if you are wanting to use spicy things for solo time, my question is why? I don't necessarily feel like it is prohibited for all people all the time. I do think that you should be extremely cautious and you should examine your motives. I do think that for some people, there is wisdom in exploring and familiarizing themselves with their body in preparation for marriage, but I want to also balance that with the scripture in Song of Solomon that says to not awaken desire before it's time. So realistically, my answer is, I don't know. You need to examine your heart motives. You need to talk to the Holy Spirit and let him instruct you on if this is a good thing for you to be doing. Because remember, the Bible doesn't prohibit self-touch, but it does prohibit lust. So is this something that you can do without lusting? Is this something you can do without lusting the first time, but the second or third time, it becomes a slippery slope? The Bible also says all things are permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Go use good wisdom.
Okay, so again, I said that was a well thought out answer. But we're going to engage with it and see how well we can make do of these answers as Christian singles and married. So let me start by asking, when you heard that sex toys aren't specifically prohibited by the Bible, what's your gut reaction? Let's start from simple to complex. So when you hear that say that it's not outrightly prohibited by the Bible, what comes to mind? Miss Susan, use your mic. Okay, she said that sex toys are not, or let me start with this. Let me start with this so that we are all working with the same material. Let me help remind you some of the things she said. She said sex toys are not specifically prohibited in the Bible. She said that there is an archaeological evidence that existed before scripture was written. She said God had every opportunity to prohibit them and did not, which in her own view makes it a personal conviction issue. She said a real question is, if you want to use sex toys, why do you want to? She said some people might have wise reasons to explore rather their own bodies in preparation for marriage. And then she threw a caution written in Song of Solomon to not awaken desire before its time. And then she said she cannot give a universal answer. You should examine your heart and motives. She then said the Bible does not prohibit self touch, but it does prohibit lust. And lastly, she said all things are permissible, but not everything is beneficial. So I needed to say that so that we're all working with the same thing. So when you hear that sex toys are not specifically prohibited in the Bible, what comes to mind? They are not specifically prohibited in the Bible.
I mean, I've not read the part of the Bible that talked about sex toys, so
Okay.
I wouldn't know.
Okay. Miss Esther, what comes to mind? Nothing comes to mind. Mrs. Princess.
Okay, I really don't think the Bible called it out.
You speak louder.
I said I don't think the Bible really called it out.
You don't think the Bible called it out. Okay. Miss Rachel.
In as much as the Bible didn't call it out, she said that the archaeological evidences that sex toys existed before Bible times. I beg to disagree because.
Okay, you beg to disagree. All right. Do we have responses online? Not yet. Please, for everyone joining us online, we would love to read your thought. Do well to engage the conversation. The moderator will read them to the house as you drop your thought. All right, let me go to my next question. And this is first a yes or no question. Do you personally think singles using sex toys are in the wrong? Yes or no? Do you think singles using sex toys are in the wrong or are wrong? Minister Margaret, yes or no?
You said singles. I think they are wrong.
Okay. Mr. Wisdom, yes or no?
Okay, so please can you ask the question again?
Do you think singles or married people using sex toys, do you think they are wrong?
Our own, you do not add married people.
That's what it's the same question I asked. Do you think singles means unmarried?
Okay, unmarried people.
Yes.
They're wrong. Yes.
Yes or no?
They're wrong. I don't know if you want to answer, but they are wrong.
But they are wrong.
Yes.
Okay, that's a yes. MJ,
I would say they are wrong.
they're wrong. Okay. So, in one sentence, I want to ask Mr. Wisdom, why do you think they are wrong? In one sentence.
Okay, so like
In one sentence.
one sentence. Okay, so they're exploring a part of them that they are not supposed to.
Okay.
Yes.
MJ says they are wrong. In one sentence, why?
It's not just, it's not according to ordination.
Ordination. How do you mean ordination?
Okay, I would say they are wrong to use it
Because
um, it's unnatural.
it's unnatural. Do we have responses online now?
MB says, yes, I do. Yes, sorry, Mr. Adewale says, yes, I do. MB says, yes, I think so. Mr. Adewale says they are awakening desires before its time.
Okay, let's go to married people now. Do you think married people using sex toys are wrong? Yes or no? Miss Susan? Yes or no?
No, they're not wrong.
They're not wrong. Miss Samantha, yes or no?
No, they're not.
No, they are not. Um, Miss Rachel, yes or no?
It depends.
No, yes or no?
It can be yes and it can be no. It depends on the context it's used.
Okay, I'll come back to context later. All right. So she mentioned something. She says that the use of sex toys is more of a personal conviction issue. Is that what you mean by it depends? Okay, so let's hear you out.
All right. If a married person is using it outside the context of or outside the knowledge of his or her spouse, I would say it is wrong. But life happens. For example, if you're married to someone and he's a military person, he's out on the field for 3, 4, 5 years, your husband has not been home, or your wife has not been home, they're in the military, and you are burning with desire, you can't even go there to have sex with them because bullets are flying left, right, and center. So if your spouse now comes up with, okay, let's do video calls so that we can meet each other's sexual needs, I wouldn't say it is wrong because
Okay. Um, she said it's a personal conviction issue. Do you agree?
No, I don't.
So how would you categorize the issue? Let me come back to you. While you're thinking, Mrs. Princess, is it a personal conviction issue?
That's using the sex toys. Personal conviction. I feel it's a personal choice.
Use the mic.
A personal choice, like something I decided that I would
Personal conviction, like it's my decision to use it. I'm convinced that it's okay to use it, so I use it. If I'm not convinced, I don't use it. So is it a personal conviction issue?
Okay. Question, are you asking?
She said, the video said, the use of sex toys is about personal convictions. Do you agree?
Okay, so using it, should it be based on personal conviction?
That's what the woman in the video said. So do you agree with that?
No, I don't.
So how would you categorize the issue?
Okay, for it's
Okay. So MD, I'm back to you.
I'm trying my best not to enter the scriptures, but
Please don't.
but if she's saying this is a personal conviction, everybody can have different convictions that are personal, varying. That's a wide spectrum. So
You don't think, you do not agree because it's a wide spectrum. Okay. Do you agree with what he said?
yes.
Okay. All right, let's hear from people online.
Queen Esther says yes. Mavi Tutu says 3, 4, 5 years. Okay.
I would love to say what they are saying yes to, because I think, are they saying yes to, can married people, is it okay for married people to use, so please, for those online, do well to just, yes, married people can use it, so that it gives everyone context to what they're saying yes or to what they're saying no to. Thank you. Okay, let me move to my next question. The woman in that video asked the question, why do you want to use it? If you want to use sex toys, why do you want to? And I think that is a very, very, very good question. So let's sit with that for a moment. Why do you think people use sex toys? Singles, married alike. Why do you think? So can we just name reasons why you think people use it or people need it? Let me start with Miss Rachel now.
All right. I want to believe that singles use sex toys because maybe they don't want to sleep around. They are scared of contacting diseases or whatever it is that their fears may be, but they also want to get their sexual desires met. Married people, I believe, would use it because either their spouses are not satisfying them sexually or their spouses are not available for whatever reason.
Okay. Let me hear from Miss Esther. Why do you think people use sex toys?
Um, I feel they want to satisfy, just like what she said. But for the other reason, because we've treated something similar like this when I think one of us asked that, what if we don't have access to our phones? Can we still meet our partners online and all that? So I just feel that most people want to meet their desires.
They want to meet their desires. Mr. Wisdom, why do people use it?
So for singles, I don't know. Me, I don't see sex toys.
Okay. For singles, you don't know. For married people,
Uh, maybe maybe it's just their fantasy. Some people are just
fantasy.
waiting that they just want to be married and it's sex toys they want to explore. So
Okay. Sexual
yes.
fantasies.
Yeah, and I think for some single people, maybe it's just a way for them to, like Sister Rachel said, not to indulge in fornication and all
All
that. So they're
right.
like, oh yeah, I'm in the
Okay.
town by myself. I'll run out myself. Nobody is involved and all of that. So
Okay. Miss
it's
Samantha, what do you think? Don't just say the same thing. State what she said.
For satisfaction.
Satisfaction. Okay. Do we have responses online?
Okay, MB says there are many reasons, but I believe it boils down to satisfying sexual desires or curiosity.
Okay. I have a question for our medical personnel, but I'm not sure they are, the kind doctor, is he online yet? Not online yet. So I'm going to skip the medical question until we'll have one of them here. Then move to the next question. She said she thinks that for some people, there's wisdom in exploring and familiarizing themselves with their own body in preparation for marriage. Do you think that argument holds? Okay, let me hear from MJ. He's already given a reaction, so let's just hear it. Do you think that argument holds?
It doesn't hold.
Okay, why?
It doesn't hold. The same argument the lady gave. This one of the
Can you be
reasons
louder?
one of the things the lady pointed out
Yes.
was not awakening your desires before it's time. So I think I would build my tent on that place for. And another thing is this: these things, you don't know how far it can go.
Okay.
You don't know how far. I think a couple of weeks ago we established that it's way better to make whatever exploration you want to make, explore within marriage with your partner. It's better that way. So I would say I would stand on that part where you just have to hold on Don't awaken the desire before it.
Okay. Okay. Any response to the last question I asked? Okay, let me hear you.
Chef Akweme says it all boils down to the release of sexual tensions. For married people, is most times to spice things up, like between themselves.
Okay, I believe that's answering the question, why do people use sex toys? Okay, the last question I asked is whether or not the argument of exploring your body in preparation for marriage, the use of sex toys to explore your body in preparation for marriage, whether or not that argument holds. As a follow-up to that question, I want to ask, can you prepare your body for marriage by training it towards a solo sexual pleasure? Should I repeat the question? So as a single person now, um, in the video, the woman said that one of the reasons people use sex toys rather, is because for some persons, they are exploring their body, exploring their body in preparation for marriage. So, and that's the solo use. And so I want to ask, can you prepare your body for marriage by training it towards a solo use, towards a solo pleasure? Yes, please.
It's my belief that the reverse is the case. You're actually training it for competition.
For competition.
Yes.
How do you mean competition?
Yes. So when you keep doing that with whatever sex toy it is, you're letting your body know that this is how it will respond to this frequency, to this object. Once you now meet a partner which you should have explored that thing with, which you should have made those discoveries with, once you now meet him, you start gauging performances, you start gauging extents of pleasure.
Okay, let me probe what you just said. You talked about frequency, and then you talked about competition. So if the problem is competition, if you think the problem is competition and frequency, I can adjust the frequency to my partner's frequency.
That's usually the case. That's usually what people would say.
Okay.
In fact, that sounds like what people will say when they are addicted to something and then they fall back on it. I don't know if you understand. What I'm trying to say is that most times the control is not necessarily in your hands. Much of the control is no longer in your hand because it's now your body. Your body is the one responding. Your body is the one telling you what you feel, what you are enjoying, what your pleasure point is. It's not necessarily you trying to give it direction again.
Okay, so you think that over time people tend to lose control of the tool, and then there's a tendency of the tool now controlling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brother, Minister Justice, okay. So, this, God. So this satisfaction you get from sex toys, right, is different from the satisfaction you get from your partner. So they are two different things. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I'd love to probe further, but let me hear from you first.
What I would like to say is that I don't think a single person that has never had sex before, talking for ladies, I don't think you would just feel the need to explore with sex toys. I mean, if you've not experienced it, I can't even, there are some ladies that don't even touch themselves. Like, they are just there. They don't need, until they have actually done it once, okay, then they go back and explore. So the question you asked was the argument based on, sorry, can you repeat that question?
Do you think that you're talking about the exploration question?
Yes.
The question was that, do you think that it's okay to explore your body in preparation for marriage?
I don't. It's not okay because you're bringing out desires that,
like she said in the video, you are doing what you're not supposed to do to bring out
Okay.
desires before marriage.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Right. So I want to go back to what Samantha said about the different feelings. I'm trying to recall your exact words. The pleasure you get from sex toys is different from the pleasure you get from your partners. I want to ask MJ, do you agree? You use the mic, please.
Absolutely not. I do not agree.
Okay. You think that they're the same pleasure?
Both of them are leading to one thing, but
Which is,
the experience is not the same.
yeah, that's exactly what she said.
They are leading to one thing, satisfaction, but the journey to that place is not the same.
Yeah, I would think that's what she's saying, that the feeling, the kind of satisfaction you get from sex toy is not the same thing, is not the same thing with what you get from your partner. Okay, so you agree with that. So on that basis, do you think it's something that should be explored? Different satisfaction.
I still don't think it's something that should be explored.
You don't think that people need the other satisfaction? Okay. Mrs. Princess, do you think the other satisfaction should be explored?
I don't think it should be explored.
You don't think so? Mr. Wisdom, so we are hearing that there are different satisfaction you get from the partner and from sex toys. Would you explore the two?
Okay, so I want no.
Okay, which one would you stick with? The sex toys?
No, Jesus Christ.
Okay, let me hear from people like.
All right, Queen Esther says, I believe sex toys are a lust-driven way of seeking sexual pleasure.
Can you read that again?
I believe sex toys are a lust-driven way of seeking sexual pleasure.
Lost as in Lust.
Lust.
Okay.
Lust-driven way of seeking sexual pleasure and self-exploration. MB says, why do you have to explore your body in preparation for marriage? Whether married or single, they can... Sorry, Queen Esther then says, whether married or single, they can encourage desires and habits that are contrary to God's design for sexuality.
Okay, let me move on. She made a statement. She said the first time might be fine, the second time or the third time, it becomes a slippery slope. I want to ask, if an act is morally acceptable the first time, what makes it wrong? Or what changes it the second or the third time? So in our words, in that video, the first time might be fine, but the moment you're going to second, third time, it becomes a slippery slope. So if it's acceptable the first time, why should it not be acceptable the second, the third time?
It just doesn't make sense to me that something is acceptable the first time, then it's not acceptable the second and first time.
So you do not agree to that?
Whatever ground on which it was acceptable the first time, it sustains through.
Okay. Do you think, so Mrs. Blessing, we're talking about sex toys. I'd love to hear from you. We watched the video. The woman in the video said that it might be okay, it might be fine the first time, but the second, third time, it becomes a slippery slide, like a slippery slope. So I'm wondering, if it's acceptable the first time, what makes it wrong the second time or the third time?
Well, I like to say maybe, the first time was acceptable. So I feel the body craved for more. Maybe that was the way.
Body does what?
The body, that person's body craved, like longed for
Eat again?
yeah, or something better than
The
what
first
she had
experience.
experienced the first time. So that first experience won't really last until she gets to where
Okay.
she crash lands or she crash.
Okay. So the question is, if it's okay the first time, why is it not okay the second time?
I like to think about it. But I just like I said, she wanted maybe that person wanted more. So that first time wasn't really
So you're
satisfied.
saying that it's okay to satisfy your desires the first time? Oh,
I'm not saying it's okay to satisfy
yeah,
one's.
that's what I'm asking. Why is it wrong
It's
that you accept it the first time, then the second time you say it's not acceptable again? What makes it acceptable the first
it
time?
shouldn't be even acceptable at all.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That's your stance. Okay. Let me hear from people online.
The kind doctor throws a question to Queen Esther. He says, what are the non-lustful ways of self-exploration, if I may ask? MB says, the danger in exploring is that people can get used to solo satisfaction and their partners are unable to meet up. If it were in preparation for marriage, then it would become counterproductive. The kind doctor says, I believe she's contradicting herself, referring to the woman in the video.
Okay. You believe she is contradicting herself by saying it's acceptable the first time, but not acceptable the second or the third time. All right, let's talk about marriage now, the use of sex toys in marriage. So, a husband and a wife both agree to use sex toys in their marriage. That is no longer a solo use, right? So it's not secrecy. Both of them sat down, agreed to use it. It's no longer in preparation for marriage. This is now in marriage, and it's no longer a matter of awakening desire before it's time. The desire should now be really awakened, all right? So both parties have consented, both parties are comfortable with it, both parties say that it improves the sexual experiences. Do you think that this is acceptable within the context of marriage? I know that Samantha had earlier said yes, acceptable, and I think it was Susan, who also said it's acceptable within the context of marriage. So I want to hear more people. Do you think it's acceptable within the context of marriage, Mrs. Princess? Based on all the premises are given earlier.
Okay. I don't think it's acceptable.
You don't still think so? Mr. Wisdom, based on all the premise I made earlier, is it acceptable in the context of marriage?
I can't say anything about that.
Until you are married and you try it out?
No, I don't know.
You're not sure?
I think let the married people talk about that.
Okay, yes.
For me, yes, it is.
Okay.
Because there's this couple I know. They got married, not for attraction's sake. They got married because of age.
Okay.
So when they got married, they started using sex toys to know a soft spot is soft spot and all of that. So with the sex toys, they got to understand their sexual. So yes, it's acceptable.
It's acceptable. Okay. So I want to ask you a further question now. Yes. Generally speaking, what makes something acceptable within the context of marriage? Is it mutual benefit? Is it mutual agreement? Is mutual benefit and agreement enough to make something acceptable within the context of marriage? You think yes. Do you think otherwise, Mrs. Princess?
The mutual agreement
And
is the
mutual
standard.
benefit.
I don't think so.
So are you saying that we need other standards?
The fact that I feel it's okay doesn't mean that's the right thing to do.
So how do we know what's right?
Okay, as a believer,
Mm-hmm.
the word of God is actually the standard. Yes, there may not be clear, specific word. Don't use sex toys. But the question is, what will be the end result?
Okay, let me go back to what you said. You said as a believer, the word of God is a standard. So are you invariably saying that it's possible to agree, to have mutual agreement, to have mutual understanding for something to be mutually benefiting and against the word of God? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's possible.
Okay. Any comment?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Adewale says, personally, for married couples, I don't think so. I believe he doesn't subscribe to sex toys in marriage. The kind doctor says, I don't think it's acceptable within the context of marriage. I believe sex is meant to be between two human beings. Mutual benefit is not enough, in my opinion. God's standard is enough. Dr. J says, I believe the use of sex toys is in the same category with masturbation, only that you are adding the use of an object to the act.
Okay. Let me ask another question. A Christian lady says, I don't want to sleep around. Like Miss Rachel said, I don't want to sleep around. I don't want to involve other persons. So I chose a sex toy instead. Isn't that better than fornication? That's like a yes or no question. Don't you think that's a better alternative, Miss Esther? The mic, please.
No, I don't think so.
It's not a better alternative. What do you think, Ms. Susan?
Is using sex toys better than fornicating?
Rather than fornicating around, getting all kinds of disease, sticking
I
with.
mean, health-wise, it is better.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Are there other ways to look at?
No, I don't know anything about that, but health-wise, it is better.
Okay, when would you say it's not better? So health-wise, it's better. At what point would you say it's not better?
Because you are still exposing yourself to these desires when you are not married. Or are you
Okay.
talking about married people?
No, singles.
Singles. It's the same thing.
Okay. All right. Any response online? Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Adewale says they are both the same. Yeah.
Okay, they are both the same. Let's talk about married people now. So a married woman says, my husband is not meeting my sexual desires, not meeting my sexual needs. I don't want to cheat. I love my husband. I don't want another man. So I found an alternative, another way to manage these desires, and it's sex toys. Do you think anything is wrong with that? I love my husband. I don't want to cheat. I don't want another man. I want to stay with my husband, but he's not meeting my sexual needs. So I'm using sex toys. Do you think that's okay? Yes.
I honor your first it is, and again it is not. Because at some point, she'll get addicted to these sex toys of a thing.
So that's why it's not okay.
Yeah.
Why is it okay?
Why it is okay is because there's understanding, and she does not want to leave her husband, and she felt like she can only satisfy herself. Like there's this understanding frame. If there is this thing in this marriage, in this home, then it's okay.
Then it's okay. If that's the mutual understanding between both partners, it's okay. Mr. Christian, what do you think?
Okay. I think it's not okay. I think it's not okay because, as we have established, marriage is sex in marriage is expected to be between both parties. So any other form of sexual pleasure that is outside of the both parties concerned then is wrong.
It's wrong. Okay. Let me hear from people online.
All right, the kind doctor says logically it looks like a better alternative, but sin is sin, however you want to label it, referring to the question of if singles can use it instead of fornicating.
Okay.
Then MB says, since we are referring to a Christian lady, no.
That's as a single person or as a married, that response of...
For Mr. Diwali.
No, you said MB said.
Yes, MB's one is for the single.
For the single,
Yes,
yeah.
so since we are referring to a Christian lady, no. Then Mr. Diwali says hypocrisy. Signora says it is my wish. Mr. Diwali says for me it's not a solution. That means in marriage it's not a solution. The kind doctor says it shows she's thinking about her husband. That's a good thing, but there are other alternatives.
Okay, there are other alternatives. I mean, this is one alternative. Why is this alternative wrong? Why shouldn't I go with this alternative? I'd love to hear from the kind doctor. Okay.
Okay. For me, she can, the married lady. Like I said earlier, the feelings you get from sex toys is different from the feelings you get from your partner.
Okay.
So if she doesn't want to leave her partner, and there's an agreement between both parties.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
And there's an agreement between both parties. Then she can start with the sex toys and proceed to her husband for final destination. It's as simple as that.
Okay. Who shares the same thought? Okay, Mrs. Blessing is shaking her head. What's your thoughts about that?
Yeah, okay. I'd like to say that she gets satisfied before she gets to her husband. Like all the orgasm, she has already released it before she gets to the husband. And if both parties agree that, oh, we can use it, from that time on, I can only see those two as flatmates because you're around, you're not around. Sexually, I'm not attracted to you. I can be attracted to you in other ways, but sexually, I know that there's something that can give me pleasure more than, that can drive me more than the way you can. So, I don't really subscribe to that.
Okay. Okay. Yes. I'm liking this. Please go ahead.
Okay. You know, okay. Using sex toys, right? You can't get, I don't know, but you can't get that. It's like you are torturing yourself. Fine, yes, they get to wherever they want to get, but the body is not settled until you meet that human figure. Yeah.
So why would I subject myself to such torture instead of going to the person that can satisfy me and get me to the climax?
Hold on, please. So you're saying that usually when people use sex toys, right, sex toys usually don't get them to orgasm. Is that what you said?
Not everybody.
Not everybody.
Not all females.
Okay. I'd love to ask a personal question, right? But because because again, I'm thinking, are you speaking for yourself or you're speaking for all women? That's the next thing in my head. Like, is this research backed that sex toys don't get women to orgasm.
Okay, I have friends
Okay.
who don't like it doesn't get them to.
Perhaps they are not using a strong frequency. Don't you think so?
So it doesn't for some. Let me not generalize. For some, so it doesn't.
Irrespective of the frequency, it just doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. Okay. Okay. Let me hear from people.
All right, Signora says everything is just directed to the woman. She has alternatives. Has it occurred to you that men also use sex toys?
Yes.
And that it's their wish to use it with their wife? She threw this question to the kind doctor. The kind doctor responded saying, this alternative is contrary to the natural order that God has established. Signora then says, sex toys aren't for men alone, but it looks like it's just been directed only to women. Mr. Adewale says, can we agree to do a wrong thing? And does it become okay for Christians the moment we agree? Queen Esther says, responding to the kind doctor, non-lustful and self-exploration shouldn't be in the same sentence, sir. Alison says, I watched a movie where the man got paralyzed due to an accident and decided to get the wife a man that would make love with her while he watches them. They're married. This is a marriage scenario. Chef Okoyemi says, more often than not, sex toys are tools and accessories for sexual pleasure. We can dispute single people because you are not meant to play with your desire before marriage. But for married people, I see no issue. Sex toys are like blindfolds in the bedroom. The kind doctor responding to Queen Esther says, you mentioned lustful ways. It's only natural to assume that there are non-lustful ways. Ethan says, I just did look. Envy says, responding to Chefopemi, are you saying blindfolds fall under the category of sex toys? Chefopemi says, sex toys get everybody to orgasm, except you don't know how to use it. I believe he's responding to Samantha. Alison says, I watched a movie where the man, where the man got paralyzed due to accident and got a man to make love to his wife while he watches. My question is this wrong or okay? Mavi Tutor says no. She laughs out loud and says not true.
Can you take that again? Mavis Tutor said.
Mavi Tutor, she laughs out loud and she says not true.
Not true to.
She didn't complete her sentence. Alison then says, my question wasn't answered.
Okay, going to Alison's question about watching a movie where a man was paralyzed, asked another man to have sex with the wife in his presence. Is that okay or wrong? What do you think? Let me start with MJ. What do you think?
This is a very, very outlier situation here. But I believe that whatever stand, like we pointed out before, whatever ground, moral ground, allows you not to use it once, shouldn't allow you to use it multiple times. And applying that same principle here, if that same moral ground doesn't allow you to do it at all, irrespective of the circumstance, the uniqueness of the situation, I still believe it shouldn't be done.
You're saying that it's wrong for another man, irrespective of the medical condition, to have sex with, even when you consent?
It's wrong.
It is wrong.
Now, I'm not disputing the fact. Like I said, I'm agreeing with, I think, what she said. When it comes down to your marriage, your own marriage between you and your partner, your consent is bounding between your marriage. You can agree to do anything. You can agree to make it open. You can agree to whatever you, both of you, wish. But it is not, it doesn't necessarily become a global standard that is applicable to the global context of marriage as it were.
Okay, so if it's a standard in my home, right? If it's acceptable in my home, then it means that, and it's not a global standard, it means that standards are not necessarily standards. Everybody gets to define the standard.
Yes, as far as consent, consent goes a long way when it comes to marriage. And let's not dispute that. I'm acknowledging that fact.
Yeah.
That the fact that a man and a woman can agree between themselves can make a lot of things permissible within their own marriage. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's applicable to the global context of that institution.
So if it is acceptable, if it's something they consent to, then it becomes acceptable in them.
Yes.
To them. Okay. Mr. Christian, do you think? Okay. Can you have the mic?
Okay, I want to say that both parties, let's say they came to an understanding of certain operations in their marriage. Doesn't necessarily make it right? But I want to believe we've established that it's not just an understanding between both parties that makes things right in a marriage. There is a God factor, right? And
Hold on. But this person doesn't believe in the God factor.
okay, even both of them or just one of the parties?
Either ways, both of them, one of the parties.
Okay, I still don't believe it's right because morally there are certain things that are just not that there are certain things that are both parties just agreeing, even though they are in it together, right? So getting let's say a third party to come or maybe have sexual intercourse with a partner is obviously
based on a medical condition is paralyzed.
Irrespective.
So what would you suggest the wife differs to? What would you suggest that the wife differs to? Like what would you suggest that how would you suggest the wife satisfies herself, or would you say end of satisfaction?
Okay, I want to believe that before going into marriage, you count your cost, for better, for worse.
So one of the costs is that
if, let's say, there's a possibility of this other party being incapacitated in terms of sex, will I be able to be,
hold your body
from that? Is a cost to count, actually.
Okay.
So I believe that is a cost that should stand when it's needed.
Okay, so let me make it more personal. Was that a cost you counted when you were getting married?
When I say for better, for worse, that's it.
Okay, let me ask the wife, was that a cost you counted?
We didn't sit down to count that, but definitely, go for it. Anytime that happens, why not?
Use the mic again.
I said it was not a cost we sat down to count, maybe something like that happen. But it's actually for life, so that should not be a reason for me to go anywhere or to let somebody else come and
Okay, so even if let's assume that even if he consents, he says, "This is what I want you to do," what will you do? Okay, let me ask a single person, Miss Samantha, is that a cost you'll be willing to count? Is that a cost you'll be willing to count? You can't do it. Miss Susan, is that a cost you will be willing to count? Please give her the mic.
May I not be put in such situations?
Amen.
Imagine like the person said, like for life.
Yeah.
Or is it just the main time or something?
So if the person recovers, all well and good. If the person does not recover and is for life, is that a cost you are willing to count?
I cannot say because I'm not doing.
No, I mean, if you were getting married today and your spouse is asking you, are you counting this cost? What would you say?
I'm saying it cannot happen because we're children.
No, you're building a scenario. What if? What will you do?
Can I pass?
You will, you will ask for more time to think about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me help you with that. Mr. Wisdom, is that a cost you'll be willing? And I would love to hear from people online, Signora, the kind doctor, Maybe Tutor, MB, everybody online. I would love to hear. Is that a cost you'll be willing to count? Yeah.
Let's hear from people online.
Let's hear from you first.
Let me think about it. I've not thought about it.
You've not thought about it.
No.
Mrs. Blessing?
Let's think about it.
Okay, everybody thinks about it in 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you have something to say. Yes.
Okay, definitely it's hard, but let's not even say it's something that extreme. Let's say one party was sick for a very long time, and the other that party could really not do anything. So, and okay, let's say it's the man. The man was sick for a very long time. Let's say a year.
Yeah.
We're not saying that will happen, God forbid. And now the woman feels I need to be satisfied. Is it that she will now go out and say,
That's why we are talking about sex toys, right?
now if you start using sex toys, that's you cheating already. And
What if the
even
man
when the
agrees?
man
In this
recovers-
case, okay, in this case, the man is even watching you do it. Yes.
I feel it's not okay because eventually when he recovers, probably the woman has gotten to a point of no return. And maybe he now says, okay, I'm fine now. It can just be me. I feel at that point it can no longer just be him. Because there's already a partner too.
A
There's
third
already
party.
Yes, a third party. That's the toy that's already there.
Okay.
So I feel this thing comes to
All right. So, Mr. Wisdom, I'm back to you. Okay, go ahead.
I wanted to say, like, it's easier said. It's easy to say. If you're in this situation and you know you cannot cheat, you will talk to your husband. You will have a mutual conversation. If it allows you to,
Okay,
I mean,
I'm guessing you have processed
you
this now.
can. I feel everybody should know how to control themselves. You can't say you get addicted to when he recovers, you would have gotten to some point that he cannot meet up with you anymore. I don't think so because, I mean, everybody should know how to
You
control
think
their
that
balance it, yes.
self-control will come to play
Of course,
now?
yes.
So,
Because, I mean, it's not
if-
like you're doing it every day.
So
I mean,
if I were to ask now, when the man recovers, you think that self-control will come into place, and then what happened to the self-control earlier?
if he recovers, yeah, I believe he will, like, it will take a process. I feel like it will start slow, I mean, before he fully recovers. So to be honest, I feel it's easier to say.
Than doing it. Okay, please.
All right. I want us to know that marriage is first a mental resolute. You have to mentally decide that you want to go in before you actually get married, right? And why am I saying this? If in your mind you're already having a clause, if in your mind you're already having a clause to, okay, when this happens, I will have an alternative. Believe you me, it means that you were not ready for the marriage. You were not ready to stay faithful in the first place. Because it all begins from you determining that, okay, I am for this person and this person alone. You have to have that agreement within yourself before you go into the marriage.
If you're talking about faithfulness now, the scenario Alison painted is such that is the husband now saying, go ahead, I want to watch you do it.
That's it.
Would you say that is unfaithfulness?
So,
He asked for it.
That's what I'm saying. If both parties have this mindset, no party will suggest that in the first place.
Don't you think faithfulness in this case now, like you said, in the context of marriage, you said, what is faithful to you? Let me start that way. What would faithfulness mean to you?
All right. Okay. Faithfulness to me would mean that, in context of marriage,
Yeah.
would mean that I can only be satisfied sexually by my partner, right? And that is also what the God factor permits, right? So now we are looking at the person that, let's say in this scenario now, we are looking at the person that is okay health-wise. We've forgotten that even a person lying down also that may not be able to do that might also desire sex in that point. So the urge may not necessarily be from the other person, but if both decide that they will be faithful to each other, they will have to go through it because it's something that they've determined to.
Okay.
Sorry, what if the sickness lasts for like 10 years? Would you rather leave the marriage or would you, let's be realistic, will you not have
See,
sex for
there's
10
a very
years?
there's this thing is how will I put it? You came together and agreed that you want to be together, right? If it gets to a point that you can no longer count the cost of being together, then ask for a divorce.
So it's better to get divorced.
Divorce is not
Better than using
divorce.
sex toys.
See, the truth is, I'm not supporting divorce, but it is better to divorce than to have that in the marriage.
Let's not have a divided room, please. Okay, go ahead.
So I think it's better to, if you can't stay, because I believe we are believers and we've also agreed that there is a God factor in this marriage.
No,
Everything.
we've not agreed.
Okay, we've not agreed. All right. But we agreed that two parties, that the both parties involved, that even if they come to an agreement, that doesn't mean that those things, what they've agreed upon is right.
See, let me make it more direct. She asked a question. I would love you to answer the question. We're talking about, let's assume 10 years, 20 years. Are you saying that you will not have sex for 10 years, for 20 years?
If I'm still married to the partner, yes. I
Okay.
would.
So if you want to have sex, would you go for a divorce?
So having sex with a third party in the marriage is tantamount to a divorce to me.
To you. Okay. Miss Samantha, what do you think? You seem to have a lot of friends who have experiences. So I would love to hear from experienced people who have worked with experienced people.
Okay, for me, sex will not be in my mind because I'm praying for him to get better.
For the 10 years.
For 10 years, it won't. It won't be in my mind because I'm taking care of him and it won't. Even if it comes, hey God, I'll fight it.
So you're saying that if there's a situation where the man is bedridden, 10 years, no sex, you agree to that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, like I'll agree to that. It's still my husband. As far I'm the one,
No sex toys.
no sex toys. Like watching him, like definitely as a wife, I will bathe him, and so like I'll just feed my hands on. It's not. Then I'm okay.
Okay, let me hear from people online now.
Queen Esther says, if you are missing your husband, why then is a toy an alternative when sex is supposed to be passionate between two parties? So why think of a non-living thing for satisfaction? The kind doctor responding to Alison says, in my opinion, it's not okay. Mr. Adewale says, unholy desires, don't think it's okay. That's responding to Alison, who gave the example. The kind doctor says, even in marriage, aren't we all accountable to God? Sarah was okay with Abraham sleeping with Hagar. Is that okay even today? That's the kind doctor asking concerning consent in marriage. Mr. Adewale says, MJ, does it make it right as Christians? Throwing a question to you. Signora says, she mentions Chef Opeyemi's name. Chef Opeyemi responding to MB says, I'm talking about accessories. Mr. Dewale says the couple will have to establish a new way to satisfy themselves. Mavi Tutor says, exactly, you should learn self-control even before marriage. What if your partner is sick for a long time? MB says, yes, it is. Mavitutor says, your faithfulness to your partner should not be based on them, but based on your faithfulness to God. That's why a man or a woman should not cheat, even when their partner is cheating. The kind doctor says that cost is not too heavy for the God kind of love to bear. Yes, it's a cost I'm willing to bear. Mavitutor says, marriage is not beans. Yes, it's a cost I'm willing to count. Isi says yes. The kind doctor responding to Sister Susan says, what if he doesn't recover at all? Is the risk of addiction still low? Queen Esther says, yes, it's a cost I'm willing to count. Marriage is for better, for worse. If the marriage was built in Christ, none of them will have such thoughts. They will only hope and pray for things to get better. Signora says, lol, the man brought the man and suggested it too, not even once. Alison says, to me, it's crazy. I can't imagine, but you can never tell your actions sometimes till something happens. That's why I asked the question to know, what if she goes out to sleep with someone else? Dr. J says, Brother Chris, so you'll divorce your partner when she needs you the most? Throwing a question to you. Signora says he didn't want her to do it outside, so he decided to watch her do it with someone he brought. Abio, Brother Chris, it's better said, abeg. Divorce and leaving your partner that is crippled because of waiting. Mavitutor says, people think that all married couples do is sex. They don't know anything. Irabot says, it is sad that people think marriage is about sex.
I think that it's a good time to drop my thought on the use of sex toys. And there was one other question I wanted to ask, but because of our time, I will not be able to ask the question again. And it was where the woman in the video started from, which was the question of God's silence about some things in the Bible. And argument was that the Bible is silent on sex toys. And I would have loved to ask, do you think that silence means permission? And especially when living in a world where there's this popular, I call it cliche, that silence is consent, right? Is that applicable in this matter? So would you say because sex toys is not mentioned in the Bible, is that a yes to sex toys as Christians? I would have loved to ask a question. But again, let me just land my thought. Silence is not permission. Silence is not permission. Silence on specific objects like sex toys as we have now does not mean that God is saying go ahead and have it. The same way there is silence about use of drugs, you will not find those specific words in the Bible. But I believe that the Bible is complete. While you will not find the use of those words, pornography, use of drugs, in this case, sex toys, while you will not find them explicitly in the Bible, you find words like lust. You find words like self-control. You find those in the Bible, and you must understand that the Bible is not a product list. The Bible is not a book of products where you begin to see all kinds of things listed one after the other. In the Bible, what you have is principles, like he did, applying the principle of one to another. And so when you begin to apply principles, you would realize that there's things that are not necessarily needed to be said word for word. Apply the principle, biblical principle to this thing. So again, I said, silence is not permission. We have principles in the Bible, and these principles are enough for us to work with. And then we asked the question about harm, reduction of harm argument. We had that argument if fornication will bring harm, sleeping with men or sleeping with women around, why not defer to sex toys? The same thing in marriage, rather than sleep around with men or women because your husband or wife is not sexually satisfying you, why not defer to? I'll call it a less evil, but evil is evil. So you're not sleeping around because of the effect, like she said, earth-wise. But there are other, which was what I meant by are there other wise, in quote, where you should not consider, and a lot of them. And so because something has lesser negative effect doesn't still make it right. Right. So, and this is applicable to singles and married alike. Now, my real concern is that scripture that says that do not awaken your desire before its time. And when we talk about sex toys, I think that the major concern for most people is the desire that is unleashed. When sex toys come into play, whether as singles or as married. And he talked about competition, he talked about frequency, and that is a very valid point, right? When sex toys comes into marriage, a kind of, like Samantha said, a kind of desire is unleashed. And what happens when you do not get that satisfaction is that you will always defer back to that object that gives that satisfaction. And that is where awakening desires come in. The real question is, in order of things, natural order of things, biblical order of things, who is meant to give satisfaction to a man? Who is meant to give satisfaction to a woman? An object or another human? In the natural order of things. And going back to the conversation we've had about masturbation, if technology changes the standard, there is no standard at all. If because we have technology now, we say, oh, that time there wasn't this, this equipment or this tool, now that we have it, then it's okay to use it, it's okay to, then it means that in the first place, the standard has never been the Bible, it's evolvement of technology that is the standard. And for a Christian lady, for a Christian brother, that is not okay. So when you bring sex toy into the conversation in marriage, the moment you have created a basis for comparison, it is unconscious, but it is realistic. That's the reality. You have created a basis for comparison such that the moment your husband or your wife cannot perform, cannot give you that level of satisfaction, you will always go back to what gives you that height of satisfaction. And the use of sex toys have been designed such that, again, he mentioned frequency. You can have frequencies that no human, a functional, healthy human being can meet up with. And so it becomes a question of there is no healthy human being that can satisfy you except an object. And so it brings a competition between an object in the room and a person in the room. It was not so in the beginning. So we talked a lot about what if both of them agree. Consent settles the question of, do we agree? It does not settle the question of, is this right? It settles the question of, are we both okay with this? It does not settle the question of, is this good for our marriage on the long term? And is this right? So those are two different things. So it might be okay for two people in the room to agree to do something, but it's a different question to say what we agree on, is it the right thing? it's a different question entirely. So again, referring back to what I said during the conversation of masturbation, consent does not always mean rightness. They are two different questions entirely. And when you say that because my partner is consenting to using sex toys in the marriage, slowly, and again, I'm careful with the use of my words, slowly you begin to build things that are unrealistic. You begin to build expectations that, again, I said, humans are not designed to meet. So in the long term, very long term, is it healthy for your marriage? And that's not a question consent or agreement answers. I want to give this illustration. There was this couple my pastor had a conversation with, and the man travels a lot. That's the husband. He travels a lot. And then he said that usually when he's about to travel, he would use sex toys on the wife, give her like 2, 3 orgasms, and so that while he's away, she's able to cope till he returns. And my pastor said, okay, I would love to speak with your wife. And while on the call with the wife, the husband who was there, they placed a call. Hello, human, do you miss your husband more now that you have sex toys, or do you miss him more when you did not have sex toys? And this honest conversation, we just want to talk, no judgment and all that. And she was open to say, I actually do not miss him more. Okay, why? He said, what he gives me, there's something in the room that gives me that. The orgasm it would give me, I have something in the room that can give. And the husband was shocked. Like, but I thought we agreed to use this to get. He said the truth is that she does not miss him more. Okay, and then my pastor asked, while he's away, do you use it at all? He said, yes. The husband again was shocked. We agreed that there is no solo use. And it takes us back to the question of that slippery slope. And which is why when it comes to anything that has the potential for addiction, you take the conservative side. Not just because it is safer, but because it aligns more with the scripture. Anything, when I say addictive potential, the same thing is applicable to drugs, the same thing is applicable to pornography, the same thing is applicable to alcohol. You take the conservative side of no use at all. God, I believe that God was not making a mistake when he talked about fornication and then lust, immoralities, and then he said, flee. The instruction is not to manage the situation. The instruction is not do it once and control it. The instruction was not try it and then when the urge comes next time, you put your body under control. The instruction is to flee, not manage. Distance is the solution. And that's the conservative side of things. And then my pastor asked this woman, okay, now that this is the case, let's assume you were to marry somebody else. I forbid it that something happens to your husband, now you have to remarry. And your new husband is saying that no to sex toys. What would you do? He said he cannot say no, he has to accept it. Why must still accept it? He said because she's already used to it. So for her, sex toys has become a non-negotiable in marriage. That's the power of anything that has addictive potential. And many times we tend to say, oh, I can control it when it gets to that point. I'm not going to get addicted to it. If you cannot control it by not using at all, you cannot control it when you begin to use it. It will take a lot more effort when you begin to use it. And this is why, as a solution, we talked about fornication. Is it not a better evil to use sex toys than to go out there for fornicating? No, I said it's the same evil. The alternative is fleeing. The alternative is self-control. That's the biblical stance on this matter, and that's my stance. on this matter. A healthy man, functional, complete man, should be able to give pleasure to a healthy woman, complete woman. And a healthy woman, functional, should be able to receive pleasure from a healthy man that is also functional, complete. When both of them or either of them begin to look for something else, it's either a dysfunction or an appetite that needs to be tamed. Because the moment we begin to debate sex toy is acceptable in marriage after consent, is that we'll begin very soon we'll begin to say having sex with robots in marriage is acceptable. And actually they are doing it already. So, which is what takes me back to the question of, it brings our standard now to technology than what God has said about marriage. When you begin to look for something outside God's design, it's either a dysfunction or an untamed desire. So to singles in the room, I want to end by saying that watch what you're training your desires to embrace. Watch how you're training your appetite in your desires. What are you building for your future marriage to inherit? Is this something that on the long run, your marriage will resent? And as married in the room, I've talked about consent. Consent is not rightness. When it comes to marriage, the decision of rightness goes beyond the two people in the room. Marriage is not an institution designed by the two people in the room. It's an institution designed by a greater being. And so when it comes to the question of rightness, you defer back to that being who created the institution. And that's my thought on sex toys. Thank you for being part of this conversation. Come back again next week. But next week is going to be an interesting one. A very interesting one. But let's leave it to that. Come next week and meet the surprise next week. Make sure you do not come alone next week.